this video, we will use the distributive property to make calculations less complicated. Let's look at the following example. If we have 20 times, and in brackets 3 plus 11, using our order of operations, we would start with our brackets. This means 20 times 14. If you were able to calculate this easily, our answer would be 280. But we can use the distributive property to make this calculation easier. Let's distribute 20 into the brackets. So 20 times 3 plus 20 times 11. Note the position of our addition sign. So now we have 20 times 3, which equals 60, and 20 times 11, which equals 220. And 60 plus 220 equals 280. So we get the same answer, but the calculations were much easier to work out. Let's look at the next example. If we start with the brackets, 4 plus 10 plus 7, we get 21. And if you calculate 12 times 21, our answer is 252. This calculation might be a bit challenging. So let's use the distributive property to make this calculation easier. Start by distributing 12 into the brackets. This means 12 times 4 plus 12 times 10 plus 12 times 7. Now, let's calculate the brackets. 12 times 4 equals 48, 12 times 10 equals 120, and 12 times 7 equals 84. This equals 48 plus 120 plus 84. You could even use the associative property to make this calculation easier. We could start by adding 48 to 84, which equals 132. 132 plus 120 equals 252. Let's look at the next example. 18 times 3 plus 24 times 3 plus 8 times 3. If we calculate this question in the current form, we start by calculating the brackets. So 18 times 3 equals 45, 24 times 3 equals 72, and 8 times 3 equals 24. We can then use the associative property to rearrange our numbers. So 54 plus 24 equals 78. This leaves us with 78 plus 72, which equals 150. Now let's use our knowledge of the distributive property to make this calculation easier. We can see that 3 has been distributed into all the brackets. So this means we can rewrite the question in this form. Include 18 plus 24 plus 8 inside the brackets and times everything in the brackets by 3. So if we use the order of operations, we start with the brackets. 18 plus 24 plus 8, which equals 50. And 50 times 3 equals 150. We can see that this calculation was much easier to work with. Let's look at the next example. 25 times 17 minus 25 times 7. If we start with our brackets, 25 times 17 equals 425, and 25 times 7 equals 175. 425 minus 175 equals 250. This calculation might have been a bit challenging to work out. So let's use the distributive property to make this calculation less complicated. We can see that 25 is distributed into both brackets. So we could rewrite the question in the following way. 25 times 17 minus 7. So let's start with our brackets. 17 minus 7, which equals 10. And 25 times 10 equals 250. We can see that the calculation was now much easier to calculate. Let's look at the last example. 24 times 102. If we calculate this, our answer will be 2,448. But this might be a bit tricky to calculate. So if we use our knowledge of the distributive property, we can make this calculation a bit easier. We could rewrite it in the following way. 24 times, inside the brackets, 100 plus 2. Then if we distribute 24 into the brackets, 24 times 100 plus 24 times 2. 24 times 100 equals 2,400, and 24 times 2 equals 48. So 2,400 plus 48 equals 2,448. This calculation was much easier to calculate. Would you be able to use the distributive property to make calculations easier to work out?